BMW has always made brilliant cars with a massive appeal to enthusiasts and plebs alike. They've always been regarded as part of the upper crust of the motor industry, but why is that? Partly, it's because of design. Why does car design matter? Well, it matters because you can make a brilliant and reliable car that doesn't burn a hole in your pocket by deleting its fuel or exploding every 6 months. But if it looks like this, then who actually cares? I know I don't. In fact, I'd go so far as to say you'd have to not care about cars at all to co-sign this monstrosity and others like it. Despite what Mercedes owners claim, BMW has been at the tip of the spear of innovative design in the motor industry for the better part of half a century. They've been widely recognized as boundary pushing, preempting and introducing design tropes to the larger car market. In retrospect, we see that many cars which were not appreciated at their time of introduction seem to grow on people as time passes, and those that were appreciated are regarded as modern classics now. If you're a car enthusiast or a BMW enthusiast, then I'm sure we'll agree that the more recent production models from the Bavarian automaker leave quite a bit to be desired, at least if only in the design department, a topic for another day perhaps. But for now, I'd bet we can all agree that by and large, BMW has produced some of the most innovative and well-designed vehicles of all time. One might even argue that they're the best at doing so. And if you don't believe me, I'll prove it to you, the old-fashioned way, with a list. Well, firstly, we'd have to introduce some sort of scoring principle. So, do you like Dieter Rams? I certainly do, and odds are, if you don't know who the man is, you've either used the product designed by him or used the product inspired by his work. The reason I'm using Rams' criteria to score this list, personal biases aside, is because he is an extremely German man and BMW is an extremely German brand. Rams also happens to be one of the most influential product designers in modern history. So if there's someone to consult regarding German product design, surely it would be the Michelangelo of German product design. As for the vehicles themselves, I try to limit myself to one iteration per model. So even though I love the E93 series and the E65 series to death, they won't be appearing on this list because they've simply been outperformed. Good design, according to Daddy Rams, is classified using a 10-point system. The cars must therefore be innovative, solving problems in new ways, useful, serving their purpose well, aesthetic, so the opposite of this, understandable or ergonomic, honest, not misleading, long-lasting, which implies evergreen, trend-defying design, thorough, anticipating user needs und no shortcuts Hans, unobtrusive, i.e. no pick-me cars, environmentally friendly, which we'll gauge by use of cheap plastics and materials that have poor longevity, and simple, so no over-design or needless complexity. Now that we all understand the rules, let's play. Coming in stone dead last, we have the E71 BMW X6. Just to clarify, I love this car. I hope to one day own one when YouTube sends me a silver plaque. Please subscribe so I can feed my starving family. But it does have several glaring issues, chief among which is the state of design limbo that it's caught in. Is it an SUV? Is it a hatchback? Why is it styled like a coupe? The aggressive paneling is indicative of BMW's design language during that period, which is echoed in my other wishlisted Beamer, the E9X series. Now I think it looks cool, but it's not exactly elegant. Plus the plastic on plastic interior one-shotted my fidgety Zoomer brain. If I sound congested, it is allergy season, so forgive me for that. We have the BMW i8. BMW's first and only mid-engined hybrid sports car. It's one of the earliest series production attempts to make the hybrid supercar architecture accessible to the public. More accessible than these anyways. When I think of this car, I assume that the mood board in the design room looked something like some kind of Frutiger Aero Pinterest board, which as much as I love this car and the way it looks, does date it somewhat. In fact, you could even call its design language gimmicky. Rams would not be pleased. However, this is compensated for by its clean and simplified interior, which is most welcome, if somewhat unexpected. The eco-friendly bent of the hybrid motor does score some major environmental street cred, along with the naturally tanned leathers lining the interior and the key fob somehow being made of beans. If you wear open-toe sandals in public and are part of a tech startup, I know this car will make you smile. The E32 7 Series represents BMW's late 1980s interpretation of modern luxury, and marked a technological step forward for the brand. The model introduced several engineering firsts for BMW, including the first post-war German V12 engine used in a production car, alongside features like dual-zone climate control and integrated traction control. You see, this was BMW's first major attempt at competing in the luxury sedan market, and they were going toe-to-toe with the Mercedes W126 S-Class. Now, if you ask anyone that knows anything about luxury cars, and they aren't biased, they will tell you that when it comes to the wider consumer market, the S-Class dominates to this day. So our plucky Bavarian automaker had their work cut out for them. Design-wise, the E32 reflects a restrained architectural approach typical of the era. Its straight belt line and clean proportions prioritize clarity and dignity rather than expressive styling. These characteristics made the car visually stable and authoritative. Luxury cars being a status symbol, it's important that the peasantry know that you're an important guy at just a glance. The same goes for the S-Class, and both have aged magnificently. From a materials perspective, the E32 relied heavily on traditional steel construction and durable interior materials. That means that you got what you paid for, which matters because the 735i variant of the car cost $50,000 in 1987. That's $110,000 today, give or take a few shekels. So you can bet your ass I don't want it falling apart. The E28 BMW 5 Series. If I had to describe this car in one word, that word would be intuitive. This is a manifestation of disciplined German design at its finest. Its design is honest, robust, and materially sound. Unfortunately, in all that straight-shooting, uncompromising simplicity, there is a lack of flair. As much as I'm a massive fan of this car and a BMW glazer overall, even I have to admit that when I look at this, I don't feel a grand sense of excitement or a strong draw. I think to myself, wow, that car looks sturdy. Not exactly the impression I'm going for at the car meet, not gonna lie. Aside from the forward slanting bonnet and headlights, this would just be the car of all time. The M5 variant would shake you out of that stupor in a heartbeat though. The M88 engine available in the European version was derived from the M1 supercar and generated a staggering 286 horsepower. That got the car going from 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. That is absolutely no joke for a boomer-mobile. It was the world's fastest production four-door sedan at launch. It created an entirely new category that Mercedes and everyone else later chased. No rival had anything close performance-wise in a discreet luxury package. I can only imagine doing family errand runs in this absolute beast back then. The BMW Z1 had an extremely short production run of 2 years from 1989 to 1991, with around 8,000 units being made. I believe it does a phenomenal job at capturing the essence of the open-top, two-door, two-seat configuration. Not only that, but you can also have open sides. Since the car features electronic vertically retracting doors, the car's panels are also fully modular. They're made of plastic that's bonded to a fiberglass reinforced underbody, meaning you could change the color of your car in your garage by yourself in about an hour or so. No other Roadster, BMW or otherwise, has that ability. So yes, it's a bit quirky and gimmicky, but not beyond reason. And even though all these odd and novel features inflated the price tag, even at the time it was evident that this was something special. And that's echoed by an engineering innovation introduced on this model, the Z-Axle rear suspension. It's BMW's first proper multi-link rear suspension in production, which was then subsequently used in the BMW E36, which put BMW's 3 Series on the map as true driver's cars, and made the bespoke and innovative axle viable for mass production. We're at the midway point, but this car is not mid whatsoever. This is the elegant Grand Tourer, the BMW E24 6 Series. This car did not fall into the E28 trap. Its timeless, aggressive, shark nose styling, i.e. the forward thrusting grille along with its almost muscular looking flanks and sleek profile, has allowed this car to age exceptionally well. The 1982 facelift added deeper bumpers, larger wheels, and updated the interior or dashboard for a more modern look without losing its character. It felt purposeful and athletic compared to the softer, more isolated Mercedes SLC. How's the view from the cuck chair, Mercedes? This model also sports the first ever M6 and is the second true M car after the M1. Hand developed by BMW Motorsport, it used the M88 with individual throttle bodies and Motronic injection, a discrete rear-wheel drive Super GT that outpaced most rivals in performance while looking understated. Absolutely sick. As a BMW fanboy, I'll gladly admit the E31 8 Series to me is one of the most stylistically unique and well-executed designs from BMW to date. Aside from having pop-up headlamps, which I absolutely adore, the strong leading lines and certainty of execution really make this car feel alive. It always looks like it's going at full speed, even parked outside of a Whole Foods. It was one of the first production vehicles to feature active rear-wheel steering, and the range-topping 850i and 850 CSI were paired with the 5-litre M70 V12 and 5.6-litre S70 B56 V12 tuned by BMW Motorsport. And tuned it they did, managing to generate 375 horsepower with a 0 to 60 time of 5.9 seconds, and even though the car was electronically limited to 155 miles per hour, de-restricted cars were rumored to reach 180 miles per hour. The Super Re Alpina variant certainly was capable of it and slashed another 0.1 seconds off of the 0 to 60 time. Seriously impressive considering this was all taking place in the mid to early 90s. Also, this interior damn near made me shed a tear. Truly one of the sexiest interiors of all time. BMW's first supercar offering. The German Ferrari, the E26 M1. Just look at it. It's BMW's one and only proper mid-engine supercar, built in 1978, probably because BMW Motorsport got bored of tuning 3 Series cars for people to drive to and from the golf course. They went full Ferrari on us. In charge of the styling was one Giorgetto Giugiaro, and aside from having possibly the most Italian name of all time, he's also the man behind the Countach and the DeLorean. That's some resume. The sharp, wedge-shaped, low-set, angry and aggressive design language still ends up looking somewhat modern today. And I dare say, the signature BMW kidney grille has never looked better. Proportionally, it's almost hidden. But the interruption of the horizontal panel ensures its presence is unmistakable. Brilliant stuff. It is very much of its era stylistically, and what an era to be a part of. In terms of the cockpit design, I'll come clean. I wanted nothing more than to press those big buttons in the center console. Rams would approve. Italian-inspired, aerodynamic, big buttons, very good. The runner-up is BMW's answer to the infamous 300 SL, the 507. It was intended to be a cheaper competitor to the 300 SL and stoke interest in the American market for BMW alongside the 502. This task was left in the hands of one Albrecht von Goetz, a German-American immigrant that served in the US military. He also designed the 503. Who better to make a German car for the American car market, said Max Hoffman. And if you know Max Hoffman, you know he gets what he wants. Sporting a hand-built aluminium body, beautifully flowing fenders and wheel arches, and the wide, elegant reinterpretation of the BMW kidney grille that inspired a tribute car 46 years later. It looked like money, it looked like the future, and it looked like it would have saved the company, but it did the exact opposite. Those aluminium panels were extremely pricey to set by hand and led to the price of the car skyrocketing from $5,000 to $10,000, after which BMW was still losing money on each unit sold. The V8 motor also somehow only propelled the car from 0 to 60 in 12 seconds, which means it was outperformed by the rival 300 SL. which cost $6,820. It may have been a commercial flop that nearly bankrupted BMW, but between the luxurious interior finish and the gorgeous exterior styling, it's an enthusiast's wet dream, and stands as being one of the best designed BMWs of all time, and one of the most beautiful roadsters ever conceived. Beating out the 507 is no joke, so this placement is something really very special, both to me and to the motorsport world at large. Even if you hate BMW with the passion of an Audi driver or an AMG elitist, you'd have to admit that the next placement is well deserved, and I'd be willing to bet any amount of money that if there's any BMW you'd co-sign, it would be this one. The BMW E46 3 Series. Really the quintessential BMW, a near-perfect synthesis of usability, restraint, honesty, and longevity design-wise. Its minimal reliance on decorative plastics by modern standards resulted in exceptional material aging and visual clarity. Let's not talk about the sagging roof lining though. No one talks about that. Not only that, but its design is astonishingly modern. And yeah, I know it's only 20 years old, but I'm 26 and I'm completely younged up. And cars age out way quicker than people. And yeah, sure, most all new cars are CAD designed monstrosities that look like they've been grafted out of some third-rate open world crime simulator. But that only strengthens my case. It's not out of place on the roads in the current day, and it's not an eyesore either. It strikes the perfect balance of modern and classic. This is also a production car that was massively successful and popular. It was on the bedroom wall of every guy my age when they were a boy, and it's still a car that the kids of today recognize as being unbelievably cool and desirable. Whether we're talking about the standard sedan or coupe offerings or the M3 variants, they all have their own little special offerings. Owning one of the E46 chassis variations, I can personally attest to how cool these are. One day, possibly, if you force your entire bloodline to subscribe and we get this channel to a certain point of success and influence, maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to get an M3. Anyways, dreams and aspirations aside, it puts everything that you need exactly where it should be and feels very intuitive. It's a masterclass in ergonomic design, irrespective of the trim option you have. This is mine. From the clear gauge cluster to the angled center console to the ergonomic door card, everything is just about as close to perfect as you can get. It really cemented BMW as being the driver-oriented manufacturer. And that not just referring to the casual driver, although they aren't disregarded. This is every bit the enthusiast's car as well. The 330i variant boasts the signature 3-litre inline-6 in the form of the M54, generating 231 horsepower and 300 Nm of torque. It also features a refined version of the Z-Axle multi-link rear suspension, allowing all that power to be utilized effectively and providing insane amounts of fun per gallon. The M3 of course uses the same formula with the 3.2-litre S54 inline-6 engine, generating 343 horsepower and as much torque as there are days in the year, with an 8,000 RPM redline. All this with a near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution is what I'd call perfection, which is a sentiment echoed by the public as it's been recorded as BMW's best-selling car ever. On the topic of the 3 Series, they really are just the jack of all trades. I really want an E92. Damn, I'd love an E92. Subscribe so I can get an E92.